Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Now in today's video, we are going to be doing an update on my yield farming positions. So yeah, obviously the market's been a bit up and down over the past week with everything that is going on. And I imagine it will probably continue to go up and down depending on what's going on. Like at any minute, this could tank depending on obviously the situation that's going on. If any developments come out, the prices can change pretty dramatically. So yes, we are down around 4% on Bitcoin this week, 5.7% on ETH. However, we are pretty choppy sideways at the moment. So today I'm going to be doing an update on the portfolio and also adding and just repositioning some of the funds. So let's see where we're at. So you can see here the portfolio balance is currently 7.4k, and you could probably tell here that I have taken some funds away from a position, right? We had 4 positions open, and that one that we have actually removed was my Bitcoin to USDC position. And the reason I removed that is because the APR was consistently really low, so it just wasn't worth farming that. It was, it could be worth it. I mean, again, 1.5 to 2% a month in cash flow with Bitcoin and USDC is pretty good. But for this portfolio, I mean, these 3 positions here are typically in the 60% range. So yeah, today we're going to be finding a new position. To be honest, I'm probably just going to go back into this position, but just add a new one with the extra funds. It's only around $1,200, so it's nothing too crazy. But you can see over the past week here, we've earned $81 in fees, which I am going to claim because it is the start of a new week. So it's $80 this week in fees that we have earned on around $7,400, which will just be sitting in the wallet ready to redeploy into a new position. So if we go over to farms and see what's going on here, I personally just like using ETH to USDC positions, but you can do pretty much any position really. It's one of those where depending on which asset you like, you can obviously open a position depending on that. So this one here at the moment, the API is down. I imagine that is purely just because obviously, yeah, volume is lower at this current moment. But here's the other thing as well, right? The market is choppy. ETH's down almost 6% this week, yet we are still printing in range, printing money every single second. And that is good. And this is because we are on wide ranges. So we have 2 here that are on a 50% wide range. So we have this range is between $1,400 and $2,400. This top one here is between $1,600 and $2,700. And this middle one here is between $1,700 and $3,100. So that's a bit of a wider range there. So you can see that although ETH is down, although the market is sort of down at the moment and sort of choppy and all over the place, we are still earning fees. We are in range because I've positioned these ranges on a wider sort of range so that we do stay in and printing for a longer time frame. And that is why these higher sort of wider ranges are great, because yes, you can earn a lot more than this. On this 7,400, I could probably 10x this, if I'm being honest, on very, very tighter ranges. However, that is going to mean that I am out of range pretty consistently. Like, for example, if I go into this position here, if I do a 2% range, I can get 200% APR, but this 2% is going to go out of range very, very quickly. So that's why I don't really tend to do narrow ranges anymore. I'm sort of going more towards wider ranges. So if we do ETH to USDC, it is this position here. This one here, it fluctuates anywhere from sort of 40% up to 60%. I've seen it all different sort of percentages and cash flow, but we are going to add a new position here. So if I'm going to do another 50% range, which currently says it's only 32% APR. However, that will probably change, and that is between $1,600 ETH and $2,700. So I'm going to go into here. We have 1.25k of USDC on the Monad chain to go ahead and jump into. So this was just the funds that I cashed out from that Bitcoin position I was in. So we're going to add this to a new ETH position. So let's go ahead and do that now. If we do this 1246, and we're going to go ahead and deposit this into this position. So if we click deposit here, and we're going to go ahead and approve this transaction. And again, this APR does fluctuate. I like this position. Again, you don't just copy me just because I'm in these, but do your own research and all that good stuff. But this is $1.2 million of TVL, and it is printing. It prints anywhere from, again, like 30% to sort of 60, 70, 80% depending on volume. So we should be going into that position now. That should have gone through. And if we go into deposits, that will update on here any second now. So you can see like our APR has already jumped back up to 55%. And there we go. We are back into this new position. So we now have these four positions again. And we're in range and printing. So around $13 a day at these current APRs, which is completely fine. So we've earned $81. So let's go ahead and claim these fees just so that we know where we're at, and we can obviously add to this USDC bag that we are building with these positions. So if we click harvest, and we're going to harvest in USDC. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll pause the video, claim the $80, and then we'll be back in just a second. Okay, I'm getting an RPC error right now claiming, so just imagine this says $0 and that we've claimed everything. I'll do that later off recording. So my portfolio here, the total deposits is down around $200 from last week. However, I have actually claimed around $300 in total reward. So technically we are still in profit right now. But yeah, this is obviously slightly down, but I'm not too concerned about this. This is simply just printing fees here. We're making around $13 per day, $91 a week, or around $400 per month, even with the APRs being lower. This again fluctuates anywhere from sort of 40% up to 70, 80%, depending on the day and the volume and all that good stuff. So I'm really not too concerned about this. It's just sort of following obviously the market, and the market is moving. So of course there's going to be fluctuations in the total deposit value. Anyway, that is going to be about it for the video. A bit of a shorter one here, but just an update on the yield farming positions, and also an update on my portfolio and redeploying those funds. So that is going to be about it. Again, to find a position that you're happy to jump in with, and again, the strategy, I've got a full strategy breakdown of this on the channel if you want to watch that, where you can sort of generate this kind of cash flow, but still owning, so you don't have to sell your Bitcoin or Ethereum if you have those sat on a hardware wallet somewhere for the long term. Then this strategy that I broke down, you don't actually have to sell these assets. You can use them, get a line of credit on them, borrow against those assets, and then deploy them into the market to earn these daily fees. So again, to find a position, you just come over. I use VFAT. Some people use Crystal. I personally prefer VFAT and then tracking it myself on a spreadsheet, just because the VFAT sort of UI is a lot simpler to use, is a lot more clean, and I just prefer it. But that's just personal preference. And then you can filter depending on which chain you want. So if you go to the filters, if you don't want ETH mainnet because of fees, then you can obviously turn that one off. But yeah, there's a bunch of different filters you can choose, and I only like to go into positions really where there's 500k minimum TVL, but $1 million is more sort of, I'd prefer to go into one with $1 million, but 500k is sort of the minimum that I would go into, and that is just simply because there is more funds in there. It's a bit more safe, and it's mainly just a mental thing that you're, not one of the only ones in that position, right? Obviously, there are a lot more higher TVLs, like for example, $22 million, but again, you're not going to be getting too much on this 17%. So again, just come in here, pick your favorite asset. Let's say you want to jump on a WETH position, then just type in WETH or even Ethereum, because wrapped ETH and Ethereum are pretty much the same thing. It just wraps and unwraps it for you. And then you can jump in like this WETH to USDC on PancakeSwap on base here, $4 million in here with a 25% range. If you wanted to do that, then you're going to get around 54% APR right now. So there's a lot of different options, a lot of different options and positions that you can jump in. Just obviously choose which one you want to go into, and you can start printing these fees. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.